Technique, positive balances, spit. Pound for pound, I'm the most positive when I bust mine. The zoo adds on like a plus sign. Addition, that's the key of the addition. With no pause, I propel to pole position. Ahead of the pack, light years ahead of a whack. I give a fiend a good book instead of the crack. That's the gold mine. Negativity can't hold mine. The black bear's headed for the gold line. And then I'm positive at showtime. I make negative MCs switch styles in no time. They change teams, rhyme about kings and queens instead of how they selling work to fiends. Then I switch thugs into soldiers, those that have given up on God to praise Jay.
All right, we're back again with another exciting edition of the Doc&GM show.
What's up, man?
I am GM. I'm along with my boy, the Doc. You know who we are. We sit back every weekend and we review the NBA as we see it. So without further ado, we got a big show. We're going to get right into it. Doc, before we do that, though, I'd like for you to tell our people, our listeners, where we can be found.
Well, we're on YouTube at Doc&GM NBA Recap. Also on SoundCloud, Doc&GM NBA Recap.
And that's spelled DOCANDGM on both of those entities.
SoundCloud and YouTube.
As a matter of fact, shout out to those people who are listening, and we appreciate that.
Oh,
Doc,
wait, I forgot.
all right.
We are up on my new spot, My Life Sounds.
My Life Sounds?
Yes, sir.
Tell our listeners what that is, because we have some older listeners that may not be quite familiar with all the formats.
I mean, it's something brand new I just cooked up, man. It's my actual personal website that I just launched last week for just a little music, a little blog spot. So you can find Doc&GM there.
Okay, and what's it called again?
My Life Sounds.
Okay, My Life Sounds. So basically, people, what we do is we run down the NBA as we see it. In this week's show, we're going to run down the All-Star selections. We know the teams. We knew the captains already, but now we know the teams, kind of, because we had an injury last night that we'll get into. We're going to talk about the historic situation with LeBron this week. And then as well, the struggles of the Cavaliers seems to be a recurring theme. We're going to talk about some struggles of some other teams like Milwaukee. They had some big news that happened with them this week. The Spurs, I don't know if you call them struggling, but they're in the news in not a positive way. So we'll rap about that. The Wizards, kind of an also ran team. But we haven't talked about. Well, is that not true?
It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't dislike them or anything like that. But at this point, they're an also ran. They gave it a shot last year. They had Boston in Game 7, didn't quite get it, and so we know the history on that. So yeah, that's why I call them an also ran. But anyways, they had an interesting week. We're gonna break down what went on with them. We're gonna run around just some crazy, interesting that we think news that happened in the league. We're gonna go down our signature segment. Did you click it? And so we got a bunch to do. So man, without further ado, we know LeBron's team. We know KD's team.
You mean Steph's team?
Steph's team, kind of, because Steph's team lost a member last night, and that would be a one Boogie Cousins. He was a starter, as a matter of fact. So. I looked around the web and NBA.com and things like that. I've yet to see a replacement. Have you?
I haven't seen a replacement.
So we know
yet.
we know most of we know one team for sure, and we know most of the other 11 of the 12 of the other team.
Right.
We knew LeBron had first pick. We know that it wasn't televised. We know that most of us wanted it televised.
Everybody wanted that televised.
Well, not everybody, because if everybody wanted it televised, it would have been televised. So there was some backlash to televise it, which is why it wasn't televised. So just give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on the team. Start wherever you want. You can start with, I like this team versus that team. You can start with, this is who I think was first pick. You can start with, I think it was all made up.
Well, let's run down the teams real quick.
Okay, so Team LeBron consists of who?
Team LeBron, you got Kyrie.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
Well, scratch that, but he's in starter lineup. LaMarcus Aldridge, Brantley Beal, Kate Love, Victor Oladipo, my boy, the Unicorn, and John Wall.
The Unicorn being Kristaps Porzingis, for those that are not familiar with his nickname.
And, of course, Captain LeBron.
Captain LeBron.
Captain Steph's got James Harden,
Beard.
DeMar DeRozan, Greek the Freak,
Wow.
Joel Embiid, Jimmy Buckets,
JB.
Draymond Green, Big Al Horford, Dame Dollar, Kyle Lowry, Klay Thompson, and the Cat.
Okay, so when you named it, so initially I gave you the option of starting where you wanted to start. So I'm going to start with this.
That's where I wanted to start.
Okay. Do you like the teams? Because before this week, last week we did not know who the 7 reserves for each team.
Right.
Do you like the 7 reserves on each squad?
Yes, for the most part. The one guy I thought I really wanted to get in there was Paul George.
Okay, same thing. If you want to get somebody in, you got to take somebody out. Who you taking out?
Probably Cat. I think I'd probably go with Cat.
And
I like Cat, but I just think Paul George deserved it. He's been one of the best two-way players in basketball. Not to say that Cat hasn't, but
he's right up there.
He's leading the league in steals. And it's really
I think I heard George was the number one in defensive efficiency.
Right. So it's picking hairs for me, really, because I like both of them. I think when we picked All-Stars a couple of weeks ago, I think I ended up picking Paul George over Cat for that same reason.
Okay, so I think I would like to have seen Paul George in there as well. When I picked my All-Star selection, I was kind of off the wall with it, but it's just what I thought and whatever. But I think that Paul George should be one of those 7 from the West. But with that said, if you have to take one out, I think from the West I would have taken Draymond out. Now, not that he's not an all-star caliber player, which totally he is. I mean, he's a champion.
Yeah.
He's an Olympian. But I kind of
product of being on a great team.
I kind of take the point that Westbrook had, where he talked about did Golden State need 4 people? Because I'm just looking at the good of the NBA. Where the NBA have been off better with 2 from OKC. And 3 from Golden State, or the way that they had it. I kind of tend to think that it would have been better for Paul George. But with the Boogie injury, I think it's West-West, so they may replace him with a Western Conference person.
Yeah,
and so maybe Paul George gets in that way. So how about this? Who do you think was picked first? Do you think?
Man, it was KD.
Hands down.
It's got to be.
Yeah. I think hands down.
Silly if you do anything else.
Yeah, I think hands down. As I told you a couple of weeks ago, I wish LeBron would not have done that, because I consider them the best 2 players playing in the league right now. And I would rather see them oppose each other rather than play on the same team for a competitive spirit. Like, you're at the gym. Right. You got the 2 bigs in the gym. You're going to let them play first. Right. I mean, you're going to let them play together. You're going to try to split the gym up. But that's not how it went. And so
Team Steph's got some firepower.
Oh no, there. Yes. He's got 12 All-Stars.
Yeah,
including himself. So yeah. I'm not going to cry for him, but I'm just saying what I would have liked.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that though. It would have been nice if they kept those 2 apart.
Okay, so
I like seeing a matchup.
So we know the coaches. We know a coach. One of the coach, and I think it's going to be for the Western Conference would be Mike D'Antonio, right?
Yep.
It's basically the number 1 team at the whatever break point that some arbitrary date that they throw out there.
Yeah.
But with the caveat, you can't go back to back as coach. It would be Brad Stevens by record,
right?
But because he coached, they were the number 1 seed last year, so it won't be him. In the East, it won't be decided until February 4th. There's a couple of games to be played between now and then. We'll decide who the coach is there. Okay, so real quick, excuse me, excuse me again. Give me a MVP.
MVP?
Yeah.
Of the game?
Yes.
Oh, it's in LA. Stars are gonna be out for this one. Who wants to show out for this year's All-Star game in LA? That's a great question. I'm gonna say KD wants it this year.
KD wants it?
Yep.
Great pick. I'm gonna say just for spite, and I don't know, Westbrook steals it from him in a hot dog show.
Man.
All right.
Are they on the same team again?
All right. Yes, they are on the same team. Yes, matter of fact, all the frenemies are together. LeBron, KD, Russ, and Kyrie are all on the same team.
Check that out.
Yeah, all the frenemies are on the same team.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
So yeah, all right, moving on. Like I
But
said,
they know
we've
how to
talked
play
about
together. That's a strong team.
Oh, hey, yeah, both of them, like as mentioned. But I think LeBron had the advantage of having the first pick, and so you kind of go from there.
He spent it right.
All right, so moving on. Cleveland's still struggling.
Man, struggling.
Again, we've seen this before. We've talked about this before. We've seen them struggle, but once it comes down to May, they're usually there because of the presence of LeBron James, and of course, they have a couple of other great players, but namely, I would say LeBron James. LeBron had a milestone this week.
Yeah, hit 30K.
Where you want to start there? You want to start with the milestone, or you want to start with the struggle? Let's start with the milestone so we get that out of the way. 30,000 points. Seventh member of that club. Of course, the youngest to enter that club at this point, and I think mainly most of them went to college. I think Kobe's in that club. Is that not correct?
Yes, he is.
But he did not go to college. He had a controversial Twitter tweet, I guess I'll say, the night before he actually scored the 30,000 points, where a young LeBron congratulated himself, and it's a wonder that he actually scored enough points to get 30,000 because he was patting himself on the back so hard.
Wow.
He was calling himself young. He was calling come on, bro. He called himself Young King.
Come on, man.
He called himself Young King. So, yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me again. It's a wonder. So, okay. So, with that, your thoughts on him joining the 30,000 club?
Well, it's impressive. Clearly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the thing about LeBron and scoring for me is that he's not a scorer. That's something he just can do.
Right.
And so, for him to be, that's like his secondary thing. He's always about passing and creating. So, that's pretty impressive for a guy who's not necessarily known as a scorer, can just get out there and score with the best of them. I mean, It's just like he just gets points just because he can. Like,
Absolutely, because if Kobe's the second fastest, and we know Kobe was a scorer,
right?
And so if he was there faster than Kobe, yes, whether or not he's known as a scorer or not, he gets buckets.
Man, he gets big buckets.
Yeah, he gets buckets. He gets buckets.
That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, he gets buckets.
Yeah.
So your thoughts, if any, on the letter where he pre-congratulated himself, because at that point he had not even done it. So he was the first to congratulate himself,
Hey,
which I think is unprecedented.
You gotta love yourself, I guess. I mean,
we talk about, we always want to compare them to the best. He's compared him, he says himself that he's chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And so naturally you're going to compare fair, and whether it's fair or not, you're going to try to compare. And you say, well, would Jordan do that? Everybody, of course, says no. And everyone says, then the younger people will say, well, they didn't have Twitter. Yeah, so we don't know what he would have done. But again, a good move, a strong move, bad move, him congratulating himself before it even happened.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't have done it. I mean, I understand he probably feels proud of his accomplishments because you reflect back. Yeah. So,
but now with that said,
I just think it's cheesy to do it in that manner. That's
like you say, him being proud, which sure he should be proud because he worked hard, he achieved that, and that's only natural. But it's kind of ironic in the pre-congratulations to himself. One of the things he told himself, I didn't read it, but it was read to me and I heard it, was he told himself to stay humble. So it's hard to be proud of yourself. Irony. I mean, come on, say how do they say it? I mean, if irony, man, were pineapples, man, we'd be having a lot of smoothies right now, man.
I mean, the big issue with LeBron right now is how the Cavs are playing.
Struggling, I think, is how you would best describe that.
Man, they kind of suck right now, don't they?
Yes, if I'm not
locker room drama.
Oh, there's everything. Like you said, they've lost 10 of 13. Many of them are blowouts.
13.
Yeah, many of them have been blowouts on national television. Like you said, one of the last Saturday, they played Oklahoma City. Right. I think Oklahoma City scored 2,000 points on them, or more correctly, 148. But it seemed like 2,000 during that game.
Killed those dudes.
Yeah, during that game, Kevin Love left the arena at halftime. And so
He was sick, they say.
Well, initially, yes, he said he cleared that up later.
Yeah.
Because initially his teammates did not know that. And so now sometimes, like on that right there, I think I want to call shenanigans. Because unless that's his first migraine, if one of your coworkers has migraines.
It wasn't a migraine. He had like flu-like symptoms or something like that.
Oh, the report I heard was that he had migraines.
Oh.
Yeah, matter of fact, if you'd like, I can kind of bring it up from where I heard it. But anyways, I think I was watching one of the ESPN shows, and they were talking about that he had migraines. Matter of fact, we can look it up as we go on.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
That was another. Well, either way, he had an injury, and the team, his teammates didn't know about it, and they got upset that he left the arena.
Right.
They had a team.
They had a big team meeting and all of that.
They had another team meeting. And apparently, because they had one.
Nothing positive ever happens when NBA teams start having team-only meetings. Nothing ever good comes out of that.
I heard a quote this week, and
when you're at that point, teams is in pretty bad shape.
I heard a point this week, a statement this week. Someone said, "You've never heard a champion in any sport at the championship podium when they're being handed the trophy or being interviewed say." The thing that turned us around was that team meeting that we had back in January.
Never heard that.
So yeah, you're right. But again, it's LeBron. It's a LeBron-led team. Through all, another part of their struggles. I just read tonight that D Wade is out.
Right, I saw that too.
For an indefinite stay of time for
They're
personal
in trouble,
situation.
Man. Locker room drama.
They got
love through the towel at your guy.
Yeah, you got. Isaiah saying too much blame is being placed on him. So with all that said, and there's more ands, another and.
Did you catch the whole Jay Crowder stepping over K Love when he was down on the ground as Kevin Love extended his hand to kind of get picked up? It was on a play.
Yeah, I did see that.
I mean, your own teammate stepped on you, kind of looked you off.
I got you, which is as I mentioned when I showed you that link of K Love throwing the towel in his face.
Right.
I asked you, was it? I mean, again, that man sitting there. You have great aim. He's one of the best passers in the league. So, as far as accuracy, so yes, he knew that man was standing there, and he knew where that man's face was right there. So, all right. So all of that, they got issues. We know that.
We got issues. Yes, they do.
Do they have enough to get out of the East this year? Because usually they do. Issues or not. Basically,
I want to say no.
And
I've been wanting to say no, but
and who challenges them?
See, that's the problem.
Is it?
But right now they're really dysfunctional, man. They seem gettable, but the problem is LeBron. He can carry even a bad team if he needs to. I'm not sure if there's any team in the West if LeBron just has to go beast mode and carry a team. I think
in the West or the East, you mean?
In the East,
right?
Yeah, I still think he could, but
okay. So
I would like to think a team like Toronto could maybe beat him.
Maybe Boston.
Maybe Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. Let me ask you one more quick thing. Usually around this time, LeBron comes up, their general manager, which has been changed. I don't know who the new general manager is, but they come up with some kind of deal. They come up with some kind of trade. Do they have trade material?
Not really.
Is there anyone out there that can help save them right now?
I saw a report about maybe working on a deal to get George Hill out of Sacramento. That doesn't help them. I saw a report about
so again, the question
get Kemba Walker.
Again, the question still stands: Is there anyone out there that will help them?
Paul George.
Could a Nico Mirotic, which has been bet, he can't help them?
No.
He's a sharpshooter that's playing very, very well right now, and he's close to 7 foot, if not.
He's good, but he can't help them defensively the way they need to be helped.
Again, I've watched a lot of the Bulls.
Team in the league, man.
I got you.
They need a solution for this Isaiah Thomas experiment. See, Danny Ainge traded them the poison pill, and they took it like suckers.
He's almost like the Wizard of Oz. Almost.
Man,
he's behind that curtain. He's pulling deals.
Man, they traded for a guy on the last year of his deal with a bad hit.
I mean, not only that, in the same draft.
Well, but
not only that, in the same draft, he orchestrated the Markelle Fultz smoke and mirror situation where people thought he was good.
Right.
They had number 1 pick. They gave it to Philly. again, when you say he still might be, you're also saying
he might
he
not.
might not.
He might
So
not.
what we know is what we know.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying, and I think I'm saying for sure, they have enough to get out of the East, but definitely not enough.
Man, they have no hope against Golden State or
That's-
anybody out west, really.
As currently constructed.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna move on, Doc.
All right.
To some struggling teams, my man.
Struggling teams. What we got?
We got Milwaukee, and when I say struggling, they won last night. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're on a 2-game winning streak, but it won Milwaukee Bucks.
Man.
And when I say struggling, I mean, if nothing else, they fired their head coach.
Man.
I don't think
They told
anyone
the
saw
players
that
first.
coming. They fired him. Like,
What do you think about that?
what do I
Was
think?
it warranted? You feel it's warranted?
Well, I mean, again,
From a product on the floor, wins and losses, how the team looks.
well, I look at it like this. I mean, they're seventh in the East currently.
Right.
I think they may have been eighth when the
Jabari Parker hasn't even played this year.
Jabari
So
Parker
not
hasn't
even
played.
fully
They
healthy.
have a roster. They have a roster. I mean, they have is not Brogdon on their team.
Yeah.
So they had last year's Rookie of the Year.
They got a very good team.
They have some shooters. They have some size. They have a dirty Dellavedova.
They're a good team. For me, they are where they're supposed to be.
The thing I don't
I don't know if there's a coach that could do more with that.
the thing that stuck out.
No offense to that. They're just young.
When he got fired, someone texted me. I was like, "Wow!" And I looked at it and I thought about it. And then you hear more and you hear more, and of course everyone's scratching their head trying to figure out why. I guess the thing that stuck out to me of all the things that I heard this week about that was the fact. Well, a couple things. They fired him in a strange way. From what I understand, it was reported that the Greek Freak Antetokounmpo knew that Jason Kidd was fired before Jason Kidd knew he was fired.
Yeah, he did.
And they sent back a little text communication or
He
some
was gonna
kind of
try to
Twitter
save his
communication
job.
where he was saying he was trying to save his job. But again, that's not the thing that stuck out most to me. But even though that is strange, from what I understand, I was listening to David Aldridge earlier in the week, and he was saying that it's not done that way. Usually it's early in the morning. They call the owner calls the coach to his home, or either the owner goes to his home or they meet someplace early in the morning, and they fire the guy. They hire a new coach so they can be around for shoot around. So they didn't do it that way. It was almost right around shoot around time when they fired the guy. But that's strange and different.
Well,
but that's not the most
but
part.
to me-
That's not the thing that stuck out most to me. The thing that stuck out most to me was the Greek Freak's quote after being interviewed about the press knew, the fans knew, the media knew that the Greek Freak tried to intervene and try to save his job. And so the thing that the Greek Freak said was, he gave me my start. He put the ball in my hands. No one did that. And that's why I respected him and wanted him to be my coach. Because I don't know if he hadn't put the ball in my hands like that, would I be who I am? Mm-hmm. And so that's a big deal. So now when the next regime comes in, is the ball still in his hands? Is the ball out of his hands? So how much destruction does that do to the Milwaukee Bucks? Now, I'm a Bulls fan, so every Milwaukee... I'm sorry?
It's probably going to be in his hands still because they know he can do that now.
Yeah, same thing. But again, probably means probably not.
Yeah, I think this is a safe one, though.
You think so?
Yeah. Because they know what you...
The guy that Bledsoe they brought in from Phoenix, right? Mm-hmm. Is he not a point guard? Maybe the new coach, who or she may be. I doubt it's a she, but it could be. Maybe they again. That's the thing that stuck out to me most was Greek Freak saying, "This is how basically I became the Greek Freak, because that man trusted me and put the ball in my hands."
Yeah.
And so now he's gone. So that's what stuck out most to me about
but they're not going to take the ball out of that man's hands. They know what he can do now.
Okay, so some other teams are struggling.
Right.
I don't know if I officially call this a struggle. because in their last 10, and this team will be the San Antonio Spurs, they're 5-5, which, for them it's a struggle. But I mean, they're still in third place in the West, which is a tough place to play. But it's been reports that we know that they set Kawhi down again. They said it for precautionary reasons. We talked about that last week.
Yeah,
but from that, there's been some grumblings. Is Kawhi happy? Did they want to trade him? Do they want to trade him?
Does he want to be traded?
Does he want to be traded? Does he trust the team? Does he trust the organization? Your thoughts on that?
Man, it's big time, man.
Because that's not an also ran team for the most part.
Man, I was about to say we never hear these kind of stories out of San Antonio,
and we've heard them back to back in back to back weeks.
Like it's kind of serious right now. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire of some sort. So
you think so?
It's got to be something. Something's not right. I mean, and it could just be from frustration from Kawhi not being able to play. So as an athlete, as a competitor, as somebody being injured, you get antsy, you get irritable. You just want to get out there and do your thing, and you're being held back. So it could be just that, But like I said, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. I heard that they considered getting Melo and PG for Kawhi. So I mean, if that rumor was floating out there not too long ago. So there's that.
Well, there was a report that late last year from Stephen A. Smith that Kawhi was on a trading block. He reported that. It kind of went under the radar.
Right.
Mainly, I would say, because it didn't happen.
Right.
Not saying that he was incorrect in his reporting or what he heard, but again, it's just rare, especially seeing how the playoffs ended last year for the Spurs, that they would think about trading a player of that caliber. So another team that we talked about, we said we were going to talk about, was the also ran Wizards. I have nothing against them, but I mean,
I like the Wiz, man.
No,
I like the Wiz.
I like the Wiz. I like the players. I remember when Jordan played there. So I remember the announcers, Steve Buckhands and Phil Chenier. So
Bullets forever.
Because with the guns and bringing them in the locker room. So we went around. We went away from the Wizard from the Bullets, and went to the Wizards. So with that said, again, I'm not saying that disparagingly.
Right. Also
Rans. I'm trying to say that accurately because let's say they had an interesting week. One in which they lost a couple of games in a row. Let me see. Washington's on a 2-game losing streak, 4-6 in their last 10. I heard that they've lost 11 games out of the 22 that they've lost this year to sub 500 non-playoff teams. People have been calling for Scott Brooks' head before he got there, and now he's there. They really want his head.
Myself.
So your take on the Wizards' struggles?
Well, we can definitely say that Scotty Brooks thing. Look, I like Scott Brooks. He's a decent coach, but he holds back. His offensive schemes leave a lot to be desired. Like they lack an identity really on offense. And, it's really not all that. And your boy Otto Porter. I like him too, but
he's actually been playing well this year.
He
and Kelly Oubre,
but he's not gonna be that
it's
guy
not enough,
they need. No,
basically is what you're saying.
Oubre, I like him. I think he's probably gonna be another year away from being a big impact player for them. I think he's gonna end up being what they thought Otto Porter was. How about that? They're gonna flop. Oubre's gonna end up starting, and Porter's gonna end up being that bench guy. He's gonna get a little bit better, but watch that. I've been watching them play.
Well, there was a couple of interesting situations that happened for them this week. The Wizards played Dallas early in the week, and there was a mix-up between J.J. Barea
I saw that.
and Kelly Oubre. It wasn't really a mix-up between them, but, Barea is one of those guys, in my opinion, that's sneaky dirty, and as he was going to the hole, he chicken-winged Oubre out of the way pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was charged with the offensive foul. I wasn't watching the game, but I saw the replay a couple of times, and it looks as though after the call was made, they were going on the other end of the court. But as they were going on the other end of the court, John Wall took exception to JJ knocking down his teammate, got in his face. They had a couple of words, and then there were some words said to reporters after the game, and one of them was John Wall, I think, referred to JJ as the M word, a word that is used for describing short people, and JJ retorted back, hey, I don't have anything against him, basically, but apparently his teammates don't. So now I do, since he said that.
Right.
And see, he should. I have a lot in common with his teammates because apparently his teammates don't like him either.
Yeah.
So
he said, I don't like him, and I guess and his teammates don't like him either.
So in the quest of the NBA title, do the Washington Wizards struggle matter?
In the quest,
because they thought they had Cleveland scared of them last year.
No, I don't think they can beat Cleveland.
All right.
See, and they're too dysfunctional. See, they're just as, if not more, dysfunctional as Cleveland,
because
and
they're
less talented. And they're less talented.
Right.
So, yeah, they got locker room problems too.
Yeah.
And that's been documented. Him and Bradley Beal haven't got along for a long time.
Well, you know what? Now, when you say it's been documented, I listen to a lot of sports talk that comes out of the D.C. area, and one thing that I heard this week was, in the local Washington press, it has not been reported anywhere where they actually have struggles. Now, John Wall, I think, had a comment about not hanging out with his teammates themselves, but do we really know that they don't like John Wall, or do we suspect that they don't like John Wall?
We suspect they don't like.
So then there's that.
Then there's that.
All right, so that leads us into going around the league in the news that happened this week. If I'm not mistaken, this week for the first time we have a sponsor for the news, Doc.
Yes, we do.
And the news is going to be brought to us by whom, please?
And we got Piedmont Smiles, professional care, relaxed atmosphere. Transform your mouth into a brilliant, beautiful, and healthy smile. Don't go to just another dentist. Go to the right dentist. The dentist who cares about your oral health. Go to Piedmont Smiles. So, shout out to Piedmont Smiles.
Yeah, heck yeah, shout out to Piedmont Smiles. Thanks a lot for listening and supporting. And so, without further ado, please, sir, what do you have as far as news around the league this week?
Around the league, we got some hot teams, really hot, like the Pelicans, 8-2 in their last 10.
Yes.
On a nice little 4-game winning streak, but in that last game where they beat Houston, they lost Boogie with an Achilles injury. He's going to have surgery. So
was that last night?
That was last night.
That was last night?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you text me about that, and, there's a couple of things. NBA, All-Star starter.
Yep.
So that
Pelicans are just clicking, man. It really hurts. Clearly. In a lot of ways, like it's a major
I guess we'll have to see if AD and the rest of, because to me they have a talented squad.
Yes.
So it's to me, can they? Because he's gone for the year.
Yes.
That Achilles, he's a large individual.
Yeah.
And that Achilles, from what I understand, is a pretty serious injury.
Yeah.
And so, was it non-contact, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, he just came down funny.
Yeah, it came down funny, and so he's gonna have surgery. The season's over. How? We don't know, because the Pelicans were one of the teams that we talked about early in the season, even in the preseason, that their coach were on the clock. You have talent. What you going to do with said talent?
Well, that's the thing. They were 8-2 in their last 10, so they were doing something with it.
So okay, real quick. Do they make the playoffs? They are currently 7th, I think.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. Because Paul Millsap will be coming to Denver soon, so they should be getting better. Clippers have been playing a little bit better down there at the number 9 spot. So if the Pelicans dip and the Clippers rise, then they could find themselves out. But right now, I'm going to believe AD can carry.
All right, so currently New Orleans is 6th, and Denver's in at 8, and Portland is just underneath them at 7. So and the Clippers are 9th.
Right.
So and then Utah is bringing up 10. So
yeah,
wow,
Utah's kind of far back.
We'll have to see. I mean,
I think they should. I'll say that.
Boogie was putting up career numbers on certain nights. Matter of fact, against my Bulls, he put up a ridiculous what was the numbers he put up the other night? 44, 24, and 10 assists. 5 of 11 for 3-point. I mean, he was putting up ridiculous numbers. Right. Last couple of weeks, AD was putting up ridiculous numbers. So if nothing else, we didn't expect those two giants to play together, and it seems like they're playing well together. And so we'll just see what Anthony Davis can do by himself.
Play together.
All right. What else you got?
What else you got? OKC is hot. They're on a nice little 6-game winning streak.
We've talked about them the last few weeks. Seems like they've righted the ship. Seems like they matter of fact, I promise you, it seems like they took my advice of playing that 1-5 pick and roll situation with Harden and the big fella Steven Adams, and then go for turn Melo into a spot up shooter and have Paul George be your slasher. And you got the Grant kid. You got Roberson, slashing, making,
They
dirty.
took the cuffs off Russ. He stopped playing Sherry and started playing like Russ. He's going to share the rock, but he needs the rock to do his thing. So they finally gave it to him.
Yeah. So big up to them, man. As I said, they were my
Melo's
secret
getting
team.
less shots. PG's getting less shots, and then it turns out that
they're getting wins behind it.
Yes, sir.
7-3 in the last 10.
And Russ is back almost averaging.
Matter of fact, they are the hottest team in the league with a 6-game winning streak.
Right.
So anything else?
Russ back in that MVP conversation.
He stays in there. I mean, he's secretly and quietly he's almost averaging a triple double per night right now. And again, to put up that type of numbers in back-to-back years would just be ridiculous.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Lakers are hot. They're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah, 4-game winning streak. I saw that.
Lonzo's, no problem.
So okay now.
Maybe this ball kid's overrated.
We know for sure. Well, I mean, again, his numbers may not say that he's overrated. The shooting percentage shows that he may be overrated, but so we won't say that. But the thing I want to ask you about that is two things. It's about the ball kid, because this winning streak kind of coincides with him not playing.
Right.
It's also we all know that his father has been a thorn in the side of the coach, and if not the Lakers organization, for quite some time.
And a lot of people.
He was Magic's boy. He was Magic's almost handpicked kid. Mm-hmm. We know millionaires, billionaires don't like saying I was wrong. Mm-hmm. Do they keep Lonzo?
Mm-hmm. Okay. At least for a while, but I thought you were about to go somewhere else with this.
Which was what?
That part of the reason maybe they win because Lonzo Ball is in Europe right now. He's out of the way entirely.
Yeah.
He's not around the practice facilities. He's not around the games. So even if Lonzo hasn't been playing, that whole presence.
That's what I'm saying. Because again, you see that you can win without him, and he's a trouble. I won't say he's a troublemaker,
right?
But part of his family has been
entourage.
Yes, has been troublemakers for you. So again. All right. So anything else?
Quite a coincidence. What else we got? Minnesota is it's a little chilly in Minnesota. They've lost 2 in a row, big games. They lost to the Blazers and to the Warriors, but both without Jimmy Butler. He's had a little sore knee, I think.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I guess most people like saying "I told you so," but I'll go "I told you so" on that one. I think part of that their little mini losing streak right now for Minnesota, which is 2 in a row. 4 of those games, both of those games, Jimmy Butler did not play as he's missed the last 4 due to what they're calling knee soreness. Now, early in the season, he missed a few games with back soreness. If I'm not mistaken, he is one of the top players in minutes in the league.
Yep.
Along with his teammates.
Yep. They're top 3,
again, on the I told you so side. I am a Bull fan. Thibodeau, which is now the Minnesota coach, was their coach. He ran their players into the dirt when he was in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Every player on the roster sustained some type of injury. I think maybe except for Carlos Boozer, but he may even had something. But so I mean that's Tibbs.
Yeah, he's gonna play. He's gonna run you into the ground.
So again, the great team should probably. Looks at this point they've been in the top 4 in the West pretty much since the season started. They may continue to do that, but do they get a first or second round win? It's going to be tough because again, there's been a lot of criticism with Tibbs from the national announcers that he holds them back. He got a young team, and he's calling go get him, go get him.
They say
that's Tibbs on the sideline.
True. You know what's crazy?
What's that?
That Jimmy and Todd say he's better than he was in Chicago.
Again, if you put a microphone in someone's face, you're not going to say that person's not going to say too many bad things about their boss.
You say it's about the same. You can say it was the same as it was before.
Again, they're not going to say bad things about him. So, but anyway, All right, so what else? What else you got to do?
What else we got? You had mentioned the Rick Carlisle situation, so I was gonna tell me what that's all
about. All right, so early in the week, as I told you, the Wizards played Washington.
No, wait, the Wizards are in Washington.
Excuse me, Wizards played Dallas.
Okay.
Where Rick Carlisle is the coach, and so in that game, we talked about the J.J. Barea dust up, but there was also another dust up, and this one was player to coach.
Okay.
And so I'm going to play you a couple of clips, and we'll go from there.
Getting ejected. Here's the second. And asking your coach to defend you, and having your coach say, "You got 2 points. Get out of here." Check this.
So now he said, "You got 2 points. Get out of here." He said more than that. I'm gonna play you a little bit more of what happened that night.
He told that to his own player.
I'm gonna play a little bit more of what happened that night.
Ejected. Wanted Rick Carlisle to defend him. His coach tells him, in some terms, "You got 2 points. Get out of here."
And basically, he says you have 2 bleeping points.
Yeah.
And F word was the bleeping part.
Yeah, sure.
And then he tells him again, get the bleep out of here, which was so again.
Yeah, he's told him that before, I bet.
Well, no, now because again, Carlisle ended up the next day apologizing, saying he got caught up in the heat of the moment. Mm-hmm. But at that point, I've never seen a coach not defend his plair. Now Rick Carlisle, as we've seen this year, because he's had some comments about the
leaping points.
Right. I've never seen a coach curse
coach.
a player out on his way to the bench and tell him get out of here. So again,
that man graded his performance, gave him an F, and then told him to get out.
Right. So
dang, coach.
That was the news that I saw on Rick Carlisle.
You caught me off guard with that.
All right. So what else? What else we got in the news?
Oh man, Mike Conley officially out for the rest of the year with surgery.
When we talked about this in in the pre-show production meeting, we kind of figured that.
Yeah. And
it's just as the guy used to say, the headline confirms what we already suspected.
Yeah.
Mike Conley's out for the season, and we hate that for Mike Conley because, as we know, I like Mike Conley, man.
I like Mike Conley.
And
yes, sir.
I will give you that story at some point when I say that. But anything else besides Mike Conley?
Mike Conley, Joakim Noah. What's up with Joakim? It looks like he's going on leave from the team. He has for personal reasons and whatnot.
Yeah, he's leaving the Knicks for personal reasons. He's got some stuff to take care of. Main thing is that bank account he's got to take care of because he is making big money with the Knicks. If I'm not mistaken, I think he still has 3 years remaining on his contract where they owe him, I'm pretty sure, in excess of 15 plus per year. So the Knicks are still in trouble with GM Phil Jackson.
Well, they got the unicorn. That was the best thing Phil did for the Knicks.
That's not enough. Put it this way.
He said that's not. I mean, it's a start, though.
It's okay. Put it this way. It's not. You're in the same spot. Not in the playoffs. And they're number 10.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, they're number 10. So I don't. Again, the Knicks are in bad shape.
Well, they got some injuries this year, so
sure they got. Main thing they got personnel problems. Yeah. And so I mean
they got a lot of problems in New York.
So,
still.
All right. Anything else in the news?
What's new? Anything else? Oh, this week in history.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
January 22nd.
There were some milestones.
Yeah, Kobe dropped 81 on January 22nd, 2000.
So say that again. Say that again for the fans.
2006.
Because some people may not be up on that. Say that again. What happened on?
On January 22nd, 2006, Kobe dropped 81.
Now, again, as I told people before, you and I met and we bonded because our love of basketball.
Sure.
At that time, it was 10 years ago, Kobe was doing things like that.
Yeah.
Kobe was very close in number of championships and style of play to a one Michael Jeffrey Jordan, to which I am a big fan of, and quite frankly, I didn't like it. But you were and are a big Kobe fan.
Yeah.
And so I remember we watched the replay of that 81-point game together. I contend that, it was a softer era than the Jordan era, and once you get around 40, 50 points, somebody needs to touch him and put him on the ground, and no one came remotely close to that. If I'm not mistaken, Jalen Rose was his main antagonist in that situation.
Yeah, Jalen takes a lot for that one.
Yeah,
but he asked the coach to double, and coach wouldn't send a double. So,
but again, that was pretty big. That was pretty big.
That was pretty big.
All right. So what else happened?
Another one, Melo, a little less exciting, but still pretty big. Was Melo dropped 62 on January 24th, 2014. Against the Bobcats.
Now I'm going to chime in with that. The key word he says, little less exciting, because 62 points in the NBA game is very, very exciting. And so, unfortunately for the Knicks fans, Melo, he was prone to put up big numbers, but he didn't produce for him. As far as the playoff, again, I'm not blaming that on Melo.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on,
like we just talked about, and mainly it's player personnel. So. And I don't know. I guess there was some attitudes going on back then too. Because I don't know, Sotomayor may have been with him, and there may have been some Jeremy Lin
having the injuries. Anyway, it was like, it's
the
just
Knicks have been the mix.
Dumpster fire,
a grease fire in the dumpster for the last 25 years.
Yeah,
so
it's been a problem.
Know that. You said you had one more thing in.
One more. Vince Carter turned 41 this week on January 26th. So
wow. He's still getting buckets too in the league.
Getting buckets, dunking on people on occasion.
On occasion.
I think he's had one or two this year.
Was it a dunk or was it on someone?
I think he got somebody and then he got a dunk.
Well, big up to Vince. Vince got buckets.
But
Vince
he's still out there.
Vince did it in style. Vince is doing it in style, and so this may or may not be his last year. We'll have to see about that.
Too bad he's playing in Sacramento though.
Well, I mean, again, as if I'm not mistaken, Andrew Bynum said. They got banks in every city.
He said they got banks in every city. I'll be all right.
They got banks. They got banks in every city, man. So they're good. Okay, so that brings us to our final segment called "Did You Click It?" And as with the news this week, we have a sponsor for "Did You Click It?" "Did You Click It" is brought to you by this week's "Did You Click It" is brought to you by CW's Lawn Care Service. A beautiful lawn doesn't happen by itself. For a manicured lawn, please call CW's Lawn Care Service. Services include mowing, edging, hedging, hedges, weeds, weed control, sod, mulch, gutters, pressure washing, and much, much more. Call today for your free estimate. 404-438-0272. So, Doc, Did You Click It? Is a segment that we came up with. And if I can pull a LeBron James and pat myself on the back, I think I came up with it and bounced it off you. And you said you liked it. And, people that have listened to the show before, they know what we're talking about. But for those who have not listened to the show, basically, back in the day, when, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago, when one would want to get their sports news, what we do? We pick up a newspaper. Now, I've been in Atlanta for a little over 20 years. I would read the AJC. I would read the USA Today. If someone had a Wall Street Journal or the New York Times laying around, a Chicago Tribune, Chicago Sun-Times, I'm grabbing that. And basically, that's how we got our sports. We don't do that these days. What we do is we peruse the internet. We might be on Yahoo. We might be on ESPN.com. We might be on NBA.com. We might be on Reddit. And what we do is we are bombarded with headlines. Headlines. And all of them, or most of them, are sensationalized because they want and need you to click it because that's the way that the writer gets their story read, and that's how the revenue streams are gained from the advertisers. So, and what we do is, I pick and choose. I'll read a headline, not interesting enough to click.
Right.
I want to move on.
Am I enticed by this?
It might read a headline. Well, I know what they're talking about. There's no need to click. So we came up with the segment, Did You Click It? And basically what you do is through the week, you send me 4 or 5 little tidbits, and you say you've seen some things that you'd like to read on the air. I do the same thing for you. So without further ado, we'll get into your first Did You Click It? You told me you had something about a one Kemba Walker, sir.
Kemba Walker, yeah. It was more about Michael Jordan talking about Kemba Walker.
Okay.
From NBC Sports. Hornets owner Michael Jordan. I'm not looking to trade Kemba, but he'll listen.
So from that headline, sir, did you click it
Yes, I did.
and found out?
Just that he's not looking. He likes Kimba. He said he would not trade Kimba for anything
He
less
being
than
Jordan,
Michael Jordan.
right?
He said he wouldn't trade him for anything less than an all-star player. So he didn't say he wouldn't trade him. He just says he's not actively shopping for him, but he knows what he wants if he goes that way. Is what it sounds like.
Well, what it sounds like to me, then, if he said that, what it sounds like he's saying I can't trade him because he's not going to get an all-star player for Kemba Walker.
He might.
Yeah. Okay.
Isaiah Thomas.
He's not an all-star.
He was last year.
I want a history lesson.
Michael Jordan.
This is this week in the NBA.
Yeah, they do this all the time, man.
All right. So, anyways, you had another one on Mr. Bazemore from Atlanta.
Yep. He made the news.
You and I affectionately call him hashtag. We'll get into that maybe at another time, another story. But what did you have on Bazemore?
I caught a report from David Aldridge at NBA.com. Kent Bazemore has drawn interest from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that was pretty interesting to me, being a Hawks fan.
Well, in my opinion, you guys helped them win a title.
No, we didn't. They lost.
When they had Corver lost that title?
That was last year.
Okay, that was last year. Okay, they almost helped them win the title.
Yeah, they were trying
So they're still trying to help them, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Do you like that? Who would you think, or would you like as a Hawks fan in return?
I would like that Brooklyn #1 pick they got over there.
See, I think that pick becomes problematic. I don't think Cleveland can pull the trigger on that pick.
No, they're in a bad
and
spot.
I'm sure that's not a thing that you wouldn't like.
Of
That's a great thing to like, number one. But with the LeBron situation being up in the air, we don't know what he's going to do. As far as signing, re-signing, going someplace else. If he leaves and they trade that #1 pick,
and
their cupboard's going to be pretty empty.
They're going to be in trouble.
Right. If they don't trade that #1 pick, he might leave.
They're in a bad spot.
Which we've talked about earlier.
I'm gonna tell you now, they need to trade that dude and get it over with.
Well, yeah, that might not be a bad move. That might not be a bad move.
You got to pull a power move, LeBron.
Yes.
Are you gonna be here or not?
So you had something on Kobe.
Yeah. Oh, Kobe. This was an interesting one because I always like Kobe, and it actually had to do with Kyrie as well. If I can find it. Yeah, this one was from Bleacher Report.
Right.
One of the NBA's all-time great what-ifs, Kobe versus Kyrie, 1-on-1. Who you got? From Yaron Weitzman on Bleacher Report. So I thought that one was pretty cool. I definitely clicked it.
Okay, well, being a Kobe fan, I can see that. Man, and did you
I'm
find
a Kyrie
it
fan too? So
yeah, okay. And you came up with what?
It was just a good read.
So what did they say?
I got? I got Kobe.
Well, what did the story say?
It wasn't so much the story. It's one of those what ifs.
Correction.
They talked about the time that Kyrie and Kobe were in the USA basketball. And Kyrie was maybe a first or second year player at this point in time in 2012 and challenged Kobe to a one-on-one game. And so it really stems from that, where this young kid was up here challenging Kobe to a one-on-one, and Kobe's like, who are you? And apparently they decided to actually do it for $50,000 to charity. And the next season, Kobe got hurt. So it's one of those what ifs. What if that game actually happened? It could have been a good story, good event for charity. And if nothing else, I like the one-on-one game. And I like players that like to play one-on-one. Like when we talked earlier about, what's his name, D. Wade and LeBron saying they played one-on-one once. I'm like, how could you be a basketball player on a team and only play like one of your best friends one-on-one once? So I see now that a lot of these guys don't play one-on-one. So I think it's cool that Kobe and Kyrie will be up for that. Because really, I would think, you're talking all-star, I think it'd be cool if there was like a one-on-one challenge.
Yeah, they used to do that back in the day. But
yeah, these guys don't want to lose one-on-one
No, they don't want to do anything.
So.
Okay. All right, so you said you had one-on-one Dame Lillard.
Dame Dollar. Report from Dan Feldman at NBC Sports. Damian Lillard meets with Trailblazers owner, but doesn't request trade. So I clicked it. And he basically wants to stay in Portland. He just wants them to do what it takes to make them better. He wanted to know what they were doing and was just really saying that he gave the coach Terry Stotts an endorsement, said he liked him, and talked about players that they should go after. So
PR move.
yeah,
PR.
I think he likes it there.
Sure it is, which is part of PR.
But he's too good to be out there and not getting recognized for his skills. I'm glad he made the All-Star game, but it's gonna be tough for him to be seen for how good he really is playing it out there in Portland unless they can really get another superstar to help him.
All right, so finally you had one on Enes Kanter, who's been in our conversations a couple times this year.
Enes Kanter, Jared Dudley have Twitter beef after Knicks beat Suns.
See, like right there for me, I don't even know if I don't even know if my eyes would have fixated on that when I saw the participants in that. So did you click it?
No.
All right.
And so I understand what you're saying. The only reason that caught my eye is because it started because Devin Booker pushed Enes Kanter and ended up getting ejected from that game.
Devin Booker's a pusher.
I saw that part and I was thinking, here's Devin again.
Right.
He in NBA's latest Fight Club wannabe fighter.
Well, I mean, he's got to do a couple of dust-ups himself.
This is my count. That's number 4 for him on some stuff like this year. So.
Right. And again, what's crazy?
That's what made me check
player.
it out. Cause he's young, but he seems like he's a hothead.
Clown shoes, bro.
Clown.
All
right. So I know you got some clickers.
I had a few, not too many, but I had a few. You know, because it was a big week for news and All Stars and other things, but I had a few.
All right. So something on Twitter about Brand Jordan.
Yeah, there was a headline off Twitter. There was a tweet that someone off Twitter noticed, and they said that the NBA All-Star jerseys have been leaked, and they appear to be a gigantic advertisement for the Jordan brand Jordan brand apparel line.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not.
I don't think I would have clicked it.
The reason why I didn't click it is because I figured I knew what they were talking about. Mm-hmm. Whether or not I do know what they're talking about or not. But what I'm figuring is, or put it in my head, why wouldn't they be? I mean, where is Jordan? Where is Nike without Jordan?
They are where they are. That's a fact. But
so
yeah, man, I saw
it's almost like good looking, Mike. And now again, do I think that they need to strengthen the material so that they don't rip so easily? Sure. But I mean,
talking about the Nike or the Brand Jordan logo placement for the All-Star game.
Well, that and
that the All-Star game is shaping up to be a Michael Jordan commercial.
Again, huge Jordan fan. Good looking, Mike. Now again, he's an owner, which there may be.
It muddies the water right there.
I'm sorry.
It muddies the water a bit.
Sure, it does. But again, it's Mike. I mean, you talking about he made Thriller. That's Mike, bro. So, and again, that's the Jordan brand. Who doesn't know and respect that? Everybody.
Sure. Shoes are hot.
So, again, if you have yes, it's known. If you have a pair of J's on, that's still a thing 30 years later.
True story.
So, do you have a problem with it?
Do I have a problem with it? No, not really. The only aspect I think is the whole, you're going to let your owners advertise at all your events like that?
Yeah. Again, all the owners aren't Michael Jordan. No. Now, there's been rumors this week that, LeBron's wants to be an owner at some point, and it's also been rumored that
KD
Cleveland
does.
I'm sorry?
KD does,
sure
too.
It's also been rumored this week that, Cleveland could be for sale, and that LeBron could be one of those things. But I mean, again, so and then if we're talking 30 years later, LeBron becomes the mogul icon that LeBron does, and at some one year there's a LBJ brand Jordan, jersey. Good looking. I got no problem with it.
All right, what else you got? I know you had Free from Tibbs. Who's Free from Tibbs?
Oh yeah, the other day. The last few weeks, Zach LaVine has come back with the Bulls. And so this headline was from Chicago Tribune, and the headline was, Free from Tom Thibodeau, Bulls Zach LaVine in good hands. And basically, what they were talking about was the other night, Saturday, was it? The Bulls played the Hawks. It was a blowout for the Bulls. The Hawks are in their quest to have the most lottery balls.
We want those ping pong balls.
Well,
Get them.
they're succeeding. They're succeeding in that quest. But anyways, Zach LaVine was in that game, and they talked in the article. They talked about. We know he's got a minutes restriction because he's coming off an injury.
Right.
And so in the article, it talked about something that we talked about earlier, because we've already talked about Tibbs and him running his players Instagram. But anyways, they said that LaVine looked at Hoiberg, which is the coach of the Bulls, and said, "Hey, I'm winded. I need a blow."
Yeah.
And instead of him press on, come on, let's man up.
Yeah.
He took him out and gave him a blow and put another capable person on the bench. From off the bench and gave him a blow.
Game, yeah.
And so basically we're saying that in years past, had Thibodeau been the coach, that wouldn't have been the case. So yeah, so that was the Zach LaVine story.
All right. How about NBA gambling situation?
I wish you'd have went to the one I had. I only have 2 left. And that gambling one's going to take a long time. So go with the one I told you before then, and we'll get back to the gambling one.
Okay.
If you don't mind, sir.
This is good with me. KD. You said something's up with KD.
Yeah, I saw the headline that I saw was from. Let's see, where was that reported from? ESPN.com. It was from a staff writer, Chris Haynes, and basically the headline read, Kevin Durant, and his little, I don't know, colon, ref was searching for me before second half ejection. Basically, KD got ejected this week after his second technical in a win over the Knickerbockers.
Did you click it?
I clicked it. I absolutely clicked it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason
Sounds
why
interesting.
The reason why I clicked it, only because we've had a recurring theme about players versus players, players versus referees. Mm-hmm. Now we have the Rick Carlisle situation where it's players versus coaches.
Yeah.
So it's almost so yes, and just to kind of follow up, I wanted to read what he was talking about. Who bore the brunt of the blame? Was it KD? Was KD right that the ref was searching him out and trying to get him kicked out, or was the referee correct and KD was being the KD of this year, which leads the league in ejections, which is 4, which is surprising because in all the years that he's been in the league, he's only had 1 leading up to that, and so he's quadrupled that in 1 season.
He's really gone for
it. So yes, I did click it, and in it I read where KD was saying that quote unquote the referee was in his feelings about another call that happened early in the game, and that's why he ejected him.
Right. And
I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute, that's KD. Describing KD about being in his feelings. Yeah. And so it kind of made me chuckle. So and then the next day, the story continued where KD says that he watched film of the situation, and in his words, he was being a total diva.
Yeah. And
so he apologized to the referee.
Told you.
And in that said, I don't know if nothing else, an olive branch situation, the Players Association accepted said apology. Yeah. Which is kind of good in light of what we talked about and we have been talking about.
Players and refs are going to meet at the All-Star game.
Yeah, I saw that, we've talked about that. I did see that there's like some kind of 5-point PowerPoint program that they got. No, really. Communication between this, communication between that. And so we'll see, if that works out. But anyways, back to the KD story. So he apologized. The ref said, they accepted the apology. I don't know. It's just KD. He's a great hooper. Yeah. KD, man, don't worry about. Sure, if you want to, have your image be your image, have your image be important to you. Of course, that's a good thing to do.
Sure.
But to me, he's portraying a phony tough guy. I don't think he's a tough guy, but he's trying to let the world see
he's tough.
I'm sorry.
I don't think he's necessarily acting tough. I just think he's letting. KD's always had a little bite, a little nasty side to him. I mean, because he's told. Remember that time he called Mark Cuban an idiot. He went off on the media that time, said they don't know expletive. He's shown us some peaks that sometimes I'm thinking that nice guy KD we always talk about is really just the Nike contract guy, and deep down he's a little nastier than that. And then he's hanging out with Draymond Green on the daily, and maybe this is just who KD is, and we're just not seeing it on a more regular basis, maybe.
I tend to disagree with that. I just think that he is the backpack guy. He just doesn't like being portrayed as the backpack guy, so he wants to have. Again, that's just my opinion. I don't know. Just like he told or said about this week, Charles Barkley. He had a slightly whiplash comment to Charles Barkley saying Charles Barkley doesn't know me from the pack of donuts that he had earlier in the day. So I know him even less than that. So, but again, that's my opinion. It happens to kind of coincide with Charles' opinion, but anyways. All right, so the last one we talked about.
Last but not least, the gambling. Yeah, let's get back to this gambling situation.
So, have you heard about this?
I think I've heard that they're gonna approve some kind of gambling thing with the NBA. I don't know.
All right, so the headline I heard, I
heard it in passing. So
was again
tell me some more if you've heard more.
I got. Well, here's what I heard. I don't know. I probably heard a tad bit more than what you just said. Mm-hmm. You may have said no more. But anyway, the headline was from Brian Windhorst from ESPN.com. And the headline was, NBA outlines plan for nationwide sports betting. And I was like, what? Now, again, it's been talked about for a long time that the NBA...
Say that again?
NBA outlines plan for nationwide sports betting.
In the arenas?
In the arenas, outside the arenas, on your phone, while the game's going on. Yes, they're advocating all of that. And if you ask me, did I click it? Yes, I absolutely clicked it.
Okay.
And basically, what Adam Silver is proposing...
That's deeper than what I heard.
Yes, basically what Adam Silver is proposing is that they legalize sports betting, especially as it pertains to basketball. He's all for that. And basically, he wants to bet almost everything. Vegas style, over and unders, points, minutes, games, wins, all of that. He wants, from what I understand...
What's he get out of it?
What he's asking for is 1% of NBA 1% of proceeds from NBA bets. Now, whether or not Vegas gives him that is a different story, because that's a lot of money. But the thing I don't like about that, number one, is betting. It's gambling. And so not that I'm some Puritan that's against gambling. If you want to gamble, gamble. I always have an old saying: a fool and his money were lucky to get together in the first place. And so if you want to gamble it away, gamble it away. That's on you. But the thing I don't like about it could tarnish the NBA in that we're in the information age, right?
Yeah.
And so more than likely, if gambling's is allowed, you're going to know the sport. You're going to know the betting line. I'm going to know the betting line. They're going to talk about the betting line. And then, so what do? Do we miss free throws at the end? Do we make 3 free throws at the end? Do we care if free throws are made at the end? Is the coach going to coach differently? Yeah. Is some player... Now, they say that in the past, the reason why players would not throw games is because there's no incentive to throw games, because you're not going to pay them more. You can't pay them more than they're already making. They're already rich. But we also know that NBA players end up broke 3 or 4 years.
Right.
After, so any extra money in the kitty is extra money in the kitty.
Yeah.
So you can't throw that one on me as, they make too much money.
No. There's always more money to be made.
So again, I don't like what I read.
Interesting.
And as far as that's what they want. And usually what millionaires/billionaires want, they generally get, because they're able to legislate it in some kind of way.
Sure.
So your thoughts on that? Your thoughts on that? So.
Wow. Well, it's worse than I thought. I didn't know it was that deep. I'm not a fan for the same reasons you said. It's too much incentive for players to do bad things, or refs to do bad things.
You got.
We've already had a situation with the ref.
You spend time in jail.
So
it's again historically and I don't like it, but it's been known or talked about that the NBA is fixed anyways.
Well,
so I don't
how
like
much
it.
difference?
I don't like it for the league.
Well, how much different does it make it than the gambling that's going on currently? That's
because now you're in bed with them. Now you're in bed with him because now the gambling's going to happen.
Yeah.
Someone's betting tonight on is he going to make this free throw. Someone's sitting in the arena.
Right.
I tell you all the time, oh, Doc, he's not even going to hit the rim on it.
Right.
That's going to happen, sure. But now that the NBA is wanting to take in money from it, it changes the equation a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it different.
I got to see how this system's set.
They want 1% of the proceeds from
Interesting.
gambling off the NBA. Now again, Vegas could tell them go shove it. I'm not giving you anything. But that's what they're proposing, and that's what they want. So again, I don't like it.
I'm gonna have to study upon that one, but yeah.
Again, I mean, it's not been legislated. It's not in act right now. But they're talking about it.
Yeah, they're talking.
And again, like I said, usually what
the billionaires want, they usually get it.
When don't they?
Man, why don't they? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. All right, so that about wraps up this week's edition of the Doc&GM show. We appreciate everyone from listening. Doc, if you could tell them once again where we can be found.
We are on SoundCloud, Doc&GM, and also on YouTube, Doc&GM NBA Recap. Check us out. Like us, love us, drop us lines, let us know what's up.
Yeah,
send
like I
in
said,
questions. Shout out some Did You Click It's if you got one.
Oh heck yeah, do that. Please send us Did You Click It's.
Man, we just like I like to say, man, we just two hoop heads. We sit around, chill, talk about hoops from time to time. One day we got the bright idea to just record this stuff and have a few more organized topics. So write us.
Email us.
Yeah.
Text us.
Yeah, man.
Let us know.
Yep.
But for
shout out to Piedmont Smiles.
And shout out for CW's Lawn Care for giving us the sponsorship this week. So for the Doc, I am GM, and we are out.